Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, we have a dandy of a topic. And I'm coming on at a little bit different time, so maybe we'll touch some different people in the different parts of the world. But let's get into it, folks. How do I get my ex back? How do I get my ex back now? How do I get my ex back before Christmas? How do I get my ex back before New Year's? That would be great. That'd be really good for me if I could get my ex back now. People ask me this a lot. They go, I mean, how am I going to get them back? Very good question. Deep question. I have over 900 videos on my YouTube channel. Some of them good. Some of the sound quality is not so good. I mean, I've talked about this subject before, but let's unpack it now. Present day, today, 2020. At least where I'm at in the world, it's 2020. Or no, 2012. So we're going to get into this. We're going to get a little deeper. I'm going to have a different spin on it for you today. And if you came to this live stream for the topic, how do I get my ex back? How do I get my ex back now? Right now, Mac. Please help me. Please help me. And a lot of times people go, I'm dying here. It's killing me. Extremely dramatic for the situation. We're going to unpack that fully. If you like this video, throw me a like. If you don't like it, it's better to have an opinion than to just say, oh, I don't like it. Throw it up there. Tell me why you don't like it. If you want to subscribe. And give me your opinion on this, because I'm going to get a little deep. It's going to be a deep dive here. It's going to be really deep. Because it's a simple question that comes up all the time. There's a bunch of videos on this. How do I get my ex out? How do I get my ex back? And to be honest with you, when someone goes, I just want my ex back, they send me a message, they send me an email, right away it's a bit of a red flag. And I'll go, go to my website, write your story. I just want my ex back. That's what you want, right? Maybe that's the fucking problem. It's all about what you want right now, right here. And when you sit back and you think about it, there's some options. And there's some YouTube channels out there that would give you those options in a way that seems really possible. Wow. It's amazing when someone tells you what you want to hear and you go, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that would probably work. Oh, I can write them a letter. And then when I write this letter, they'll receive it and they'll realize how great I am and how much they messed up. And they'll take me back. And it will be rose petals and wine glasses all over again. And we'll get back to where we started. Because this video told me if I write this letter and I do it this way, that everything will work out for me. Because this video could not be true. No, you believe what you want to believe. And is it possible that a letter could work? Sure. Is it possible you'll win the lottery? Sure, if you buy the ticket. Absolutely. Sometimes people go, oh, that'll never work. Could. Right? It could. Is it likely? Probably not. And worse off, if you were to get someone back writing a letter, that person's probably going to take you back out of pity. If they take you back out of pity, the pity probably won't last forever. And if the pity continues to last, you have to continue to be pitiful. And there's a special relationship place for people like that. There are people that will take on pity. Like if I don't take them back, they're gonna end up on drugs again, or they're gonna end up being an alcoholic, or they don't have a job. That's okay. I mean, someone might say, oh, they have a good heart, whatever. That's not full blown, I'm in love with the person. That's caretaking. So how do I get my ex back? So I just threw up some topics right here in the live stream that are ones that you might look at, and they're doable things. They're things that actually, I didn't think of that one before, or yeah, this could work. I hope it works. I'm going to go somewhere in a different direction with this, but let's just unpack this. How do I get my ex back? Let's start with find out what they want and get it for them. I remember I watched this movie a while back that was a spy movie. I can't remember the name of the movie, but they went to spy school. And I believe they were Russian spies. I could be wrong. And in the school, they were saying that the human mind is a puzzle of what they want. And so these spies were being educated on the fact that find out what this individual wants and give it to them, and they will be yours. And I think that there's some truth there. And a lot of times, maybe you don't have what they want. That's the part you don't get. Find out what they want and get it for them, or give it to them. So when you break up, and it's not that simple, because I need to hear your breakup story. I have to hear your breakup story or read your breakup story. Go to writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com. I have to read your story to know what happened, and maybe I can identify, oh, this is what they were looking for. You didn't have it. Sometimes it's very cut and dry. There's a lot of relationships out there, and this could be men or women. I'm just going to give you the simple one, money. It's not true of every case, but it is true, and it's been true since the beginning of time. People like to be taken care of that do not have the skills or ability to provide for themselves, or have the belief that they can't provide for themselves. They come from poverty. That's all they know. Maybe their mother was one that endorsed for them to marry for money. The list goes on. But someone that married, this is just an example of this. Find out what they want and get it for them, or do it for them. So if your ex broke up with you, and it's very clear sometimes in these cases, it's not always clear, but it's clear, like, yeah, you didn't make enough money to take care of them and provide money for their family. Maybe the woman had a kid prior to, and it was always a problem because you had to take care of them. Because again, maybe this individual feels like they didn't have the skills to provide for themselves or make enough money for themselves, and they were in debt, and the list goes on. And so in that case, it's like, it's about money. I've had clients like this before. There was an individual a while back, good dude, good people. And he had dated this woman off and on for, I believe it was 3 or 4 years. And she had lived with him for a couple of years. And when I say on and off, they were together. She was a full-blown alcoholic, but he loved her and cared about her. They had extremely good intimacy, which carried the day. And he would end up back with her. She was highly manipulative, and she was very clear. I want you to take care of me. I don't want to work. Some people say, what's that all about? Well, she's very clear on what she wants. That's what she wants. And he's like, look, Mac, I make enough money. Actually, I could do it. But he's like, I do want her to quit drinking. Well, okay. You guys can negotiate that, I suppose. But if she's been an alcoholic for 3, 4, 5 years, she has no job, what else is she going to do during the day? So he came back. He came back to her, and he was like, when I say he came back, they got back together. Then they broke up again. Then she met another guy that was extremely rich. I mean, this is the story he told me. She met this guy online. This guy started to take care of her, supposedly some pilot or something like that. She bragged to him that she had a sugar daddy now that was going to take care of her. And the guy that she had went with had another girlfriend, which she was okay with, because she's like, as long as I'm getting taken care of and he's taking care of this other person, it's fine. So he anticipated. She calls him up and lets him know, like, yeah, I'm with someone now, ... But every once in a while, they see each other. They hook up. They have good intimacy. And he starts to get sucked in. He's, like, really pissed off that she's in this new relationship with a guy that just has money and doesn't really care about her, and the list goes on. And I'm like, so are you willing to be that person? He's like, no, I'm not. And I said, well, there you go. That's what she wants. And this is why I'm saying this is very clear. If he said, hey, look, move in with me, I'll take care of you, and keep the fridge stocked with beer and wine, whatever alcohol or spirit she drinks, and then you can have her, and then you guys can be together. That was very clear, and she made it clear. She's like, look, I want to get taken care of. I don't want to work. Now she found some guy like that, and the guy that was her former boyfriend's telling me in the live coaching, he's like, look, dude, I know this isn't going to work out. I know this guy's just using her. He's not good for her. I said, hey, look, this is what she's looking for. Now, someone from the outside in as a spectator is like, oh, what a gold digger. What's this? I don't know what that woman came from. I didn't live her life experience. Maybe she came from an extremely poor family. And so if that happens, maybe, she was just very, very trained on the idea of that she can't make money on her own. And if she's a serious alcoholic, the drink comes first. And if she's had other men in her past take care of her, that's her playbook. So when this guy's like, oh, I just want to get her back, that's what she wants. Well, I just want her to quit drinking and maybe get a job, and then, she's going to have to break up with this guy first. Does she want to do that? So in that particular case, you can get your ex back, but do you want to do what it takes? Now, there's other cases where people, if I said to them, find out what they want and get it for them, you don't have what they want. I'll give you another example. You're in a 5-year relationship. This is common, actually. You hooked up in college in your early 20s, maybe 22, 23, 21, and then you're together the next 4 or 5 years. You live together, and you gained a bunch of weight as a guy. Gained a bunch of weight, got lazy, never really got the career on deck that you wanted. I've had a client like this start mowing grass for your uncle at a park service, right? 27, 28. You just never got on track. You just kind of like loafed through your mid-20s. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, shit, she left me. I want her back. She's been hinting about your weight. She's been hinting about, hey, did you want to maybe seek out a career or get a better job? You did go to college, on and on and on. And he's like, I can't believe she left me, man. She did this, she did that. What does she want? She wants you to be the guy that she originally was attracted to that was, 100 pounds less and was in college doing pretty well, had some kind of idea about when I get out of college, I'm going to seek out this career. And then you go into the first opportunity out there that's, being a bouncer at a bar or cutting lawn for your uncle at a park service. Those aren't bad jobs. I'm not putting anyone down. I've had jobs in my life where I'm like, yeah, that was tough, man. From the outside in, someone's like, what? I worked at sporting goods stores. I've worked at a Hofbräu. I did what I had to when I was a kid, when I was in college and whatnot. I'm okay with that. I'm just saying, when you get out of a breakup and you're like, can't believe she did this, can't believe he did this, can't believe she did, what do they want? They told you. When you broke up with them, they fucking told you. They hinted to you. And people go, well, she did tell me before that she didn't kind of like she kind of didn't like my weight. And she didn't like that you got fat, dude. And someone's like, oh, that's messed up. I'm just telling the truth. You got to be honest. You got to be honest with yourself. And he's like, yeah, I did gain a lot of weight. And I just, I took up drinking regularly. And then it gets unfolded. And it's like, in that particular case, when you're like, how do I get my ex back? Well, you're not going to lose 100 pounds in a day or get a new job in a day. And you're not going to turn back the clock and go, oh, yeah, I changed. I'm willing to change. No. I've known you for 4 years now, and you've been doing the same things for the last 2 years that aren't very productive, so I don't believe you. So in those cases, when you say, how do I get my ex back? How do I get my ex back now? You can't really turn the tides right away. Okay? Another one is very, very popular. Make them jealous. Now, this actually works if you're dealing with someone that's ego-based or someone that is very into what other people think, which is very common in this age of social media. So if you post up there within the first week of breaking up that you're with a hot woman having a good time, or you're out partying having a good time, or vice versa if you're a woman with a guy. I've dealt with this. I had a close friend years back. Him and his girlfriend were off and on all the time. They were breaking up to make up, making up to break up, etc. It was just repetitive, right? But that was their relationship. That was their playbook. Let's break up. Let's make up. Every time they broke up, he was hooking up with some woman immediately. And so he would do this on the down low. He wouldn't, she wouldn't know this, that, and the other. Maybe she had her suspicions, but he would find someone else that was out there. And he was, didn't have trouble doing that. Not a bad looking guy, et cetera, et cetera. So she goes, and this is years back. She go, I don't know how many times they had broken up because we were good friends, but we were distant at this point. And she goes and posts on, I believe it was Instagram or Facebook, a guy and her coming out of the bathroom. So, I mean, it was like, it wasn't like the bedroom or anything like that. I think the guy had a towel on. It was obvious some guy had stayed over her house, and she posted some short video. My buddy went bananas, berserk, bonkers. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, well, I mean, you guys are broken up, and you're messing around too. And he was hurt. It was public, and he was scurrying to find a way to get back. They got back together because that was their playbook and their thing. They like to hurt each other. They like to get each other's attention, and they make up to break up all the time anyway. So when they broke up, it's like, it's not final. She got his attention. Does that work for everyone? No. Can it work? Yeah. Does that lead to a healthy relationship? Hell no. Does that lead to the same thing happening again? So if they were to break up again, which they broke up a lot, she might use that same tactic again. Is that good? I don't know. That being said, just because it works for one couple doesn't mean it works for another, because what other people do is, if you get the guy that's overweight and has a bad job and he goes and posts online that he's living it up and he's with someone, the woman that he was with is probably going, yeah, that's not even true. I don't even believe that's true. He just took it because it doesn't seem like it might be out of character. So I always tell people, if you're going to go the route where you make them jealous, which is up to you if that's your approach, because it can work. I don't endorse it, but if you want to do it, it's your prerogative. That being said, it could backfire on you because the person could check out your story and go, yeah, no. Or the person can go, wow, you're seeing someone else? I'm done. It doesn't work the same for everyone. And this is where people go, how do I get my ex back? There's no foolproof guaranteed formula. I'm just giving you some of the things that someone might tell you that might work or have worked for other people. Here's a good one. Go back in time. Oh, that's not possible, Mac. That's not possible. Yeah, I don't think it is possible. But some people somehow think if they apologize, if they go, hey, I did this and I did that, and I'm really sorry. I won't do it again. And they go back in time to all those things, that they'll get back the person. Could be. Does it work most of the time? No, because going back in time, the event that led to the breakup, this, that, or the other, it's already done. So going back in time is usually not very useful or helpful in getting your ex back, although some people try to do it in their conversations when they're trying to get their ex back. Write a letter. Hey, man, do you think I should write a letter before Christmas? Short answer, no. Usually when you broke up, you've said everything you need to say. You've left the door open. Maybe you said sorry. Maybe you said some nasty things. If you said some nasty things and now you regret them, some mean things, sit back and ask yourself, why did you say those things? You obviously weren't happy, right? You have to assess that. Now, writing a letter that already states what you already talked about could be a little bit annoying. It can be pathetic. I have heard of people writing a letter and it works. Small percentage, certain circumstances. I'd have to know your story in order to say like, yeah, that might work. I will say this. Even if the letter works, it doesn't guarantee that you'll be together for long. Depending on your situation, you might build up some nostalgia. And I'll add, some people are more sensitive to the idea of a letter than others. Some people would go, oh, I don't even like to read letters. Some other people, oh my God, they wrote a letter. So much different. Could it work? Writing a letter? Sure. Here's the consequence. You write the letter, you pour your heart out, you put everything into it, and you go, I hope this works. And then you send it, and you get a response like, hey, I got your letter, thanks. I still just want to be friends. Ooh, needle to the heart. That's a consequence. If you send in your story to writemac.com where I talk to you about it, I'm like, look, I think that, this is more likely the consequence. But if you really want to write the letter, go ahead and write the letter and see what happens. It's a discovery mission. If they respond negative and you're back to ground zero, then you're done. No contact. Here's a big one. How do I get my ex back? Apologize. But don't just apologize. Apologize 1,000 times through text. Knock on their door. Show up at their house. Say sorry again and again and again, because somehow in your thick head you think, sorry gains more power when you say it multiple times. Actually, that's counterintuitive. Saying sorry more than once just cheapens it. You say it directly, you look them in the eyes, you did something wrong, you state what you did wrong, you state if you're not going to do it again, and then you say, I apologize, I'm sorry, I messed up. The idea of saying it again and again and again, could you get your ex back that way? Sure, you can annoy them into getting back with you. I've heard of it. It's usually a lot of people in first relationships. They'll say like, oh, I took him back because I just felt sorry for him. I went back. There are some weak people out there that go, I have a weak place for someone apologizing or crying. Say, if you apologize and you pour it on with crying, someone just called in on a live coaching session on a live stream. She was like, well, he was crying. Okay, that's up to you. Maybe the extra drama adds something to it. I get it. I'm with you. But in most cases, they're going to take you back out of pity, being annoyed. They just want you to stop. And it won't last very long after that. If someone accepts your apology, they usually can do it the first time, or they need time. This is a big one. Hey, I'm glad you apologized to me, but I still need time to process. This is a big one. When she said she needed time to process this and think about things, back off. The apology is a good place to back off then. Back off. Go, hey, I understand. I messed up. I apologize. And then leave it alone. But to continually tap her on the shoulder, hey, I'm sorry. Can we just get back together? Extremely annoying, extremely needy, and unattractive. Here's the next one. Tell them all the changes you will make. I'll go back to school. I'll quit drinking. I'll quit hanging out with that friend you don't like. We'll go on date night every Friday, and we'll do this, we'll do that. All the things that you've been hinting or wanting, but I didn't do. But now that we've broken up, now it's real, so I'll do it. Is that okay? Okay. This is a big one. Well, we've been together 3 years, and you haven't made changes yet. So why would I believe you now? Right? It's like if Robert De Niro, the great Robert De Niro, decided to play a role in a film where He is a really nice guy who's a computer programmer, who has a couple poodles, and is it just extremely soft and feminine. You'd go, that's not Robert De Niro. That's not the actor I know. I don't even want to see that movie. And if I did, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't believe it. Your partner knows you by who you are and what you've done over the years. And so you just going, hey, now that we're broken up, I can change. Good try. They might take you back. Most likely they won't. And if they do, most likely if they take you back easily, you probably won't change because you'll go, I just have to tell them that. And then you'll break up again. How about this one? How do I get my ex back? Do no contact for a day or a week, because you don't want to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, because then you think they're going to forget about me. So you go, oh, can I just do no contact for a day or a week? Yeah, they can come back in a day or a week. Sure. It happens. It happens. It happens sometimes. And sometimes someone just, that's all it takes. We got back together already. Okay. Were the problems fixed from the original breakup? Is everything smoothed out? Because you broke up for a reason. Are you sure you didn't need some more time on that? It's a little suspect. It's a little suspect. Here's a big one. How do I get my ex back? How about this one? Put them down on their insecurities. Well, you'll never find someone like me. I've had clients that literally for an hour are like, they're not going to find another person like me. Like, because I got money. And people have a lot of trouble when they believe they're a catch and they have a lot going for them. And they can't realize why someone broke up with them. Like, look, I go to the gym every day, man. I got money. I got this. I got that. I'm a good guy. You know, I read self-improvement books and did this. I do charity work. Pop, 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 pop. And she broke up with me? Yeah. Crazy, right? It's possible. So in the process, someone will go, you know what? She was never good enough for me. She's too big. She's ugly. Actually, I never liked her nose. The list goes on. And if the other person's weak or needy or insecure, it's called pushing buttons. And you could get your ex back like that, because you can get them to feel like, oh, maybe he's right. Maybe she's right. Maybe I can't get someone better. Well, that's a relationship that's not very healthy, and that's not a very good way to go about it. And again, it'll probably fold in the future. Here's the best one. And this is the one where I get a lot of people that come to me later on. They're like, look, coach, I really messed up. Go to their home and beg. Please don't. And people tell me like, yeah, I did the whole begging thing. Like, why'd you leave? Da, da, da. And they'll be rolling their eyes looking back like a movie that they don't want to replay, but they've been replaying. And they'll just go, I know I shouldn't have done it, and looking back, but does that work sometimes? It does. There is a small percentage of individuals out there that do take people back out of pity and fear that you're going to hurt yourself, or fear that you're not going to be able to do it without them, or the fact that they just like the fact that you need them so much, that you fought for the relationship. But just keep this in mind. If you break up again, you're going to have to do that again. And at what point do you want your dignity, pride, your balls intact? It's like, hey, can I get my ball sack back? Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Cheers. Because what happens in the breakup is a new precedent. So when you get back together, you're setting up a precedent that if we break up again or we have problems again, you renegotiated your terms. You ever think about, I'm big on basketball, right? So I watch the NBA. It's like right now there's a big movement of players that are like, I don't want to play for this team anymore. They're not going to win a championship. Think about that in terms of a breakup. It's like, I don't want to be with you anymore. I don't think you're going to work out long term. I don't think we're going to be able to have the house, the 2 kids, a car. I don't think we're going to be able to live that dream. Not with you. And you're like, the team, like the basketball team's like, wait a minute, we'll go out and figure this out. We'll help you out. And the player's like, no, I'm done. I'd rather go to this other team that's already made, that's already got all the stars. I want to play with LeBron. I want to play with these other guys. I'm not going to work it out. I'm not going to figure it out. It's the same thing in a breakup, really. It's like, look, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be a free agent again. I'm just going to back out of this. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, as the great Genuine said. Wait a minute. And it's like, she's going to leave me now? Well, she wants that championship. She wants more. And you're like, this goes back to what I said. Can you give the individual what they really do want? That's a really good question to ask. Well, I can in the future if I do this, this, and that. Yeah, they're not willing to wait any longer. They've been with you for a little while. They've seen your body of work. They don't believe you can do what they want. That's it. It comes down to that all the time. But some people can, right? Maybe it's as simple as like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what you want. You want to get married? Yeah, I keep saying I don't want to get. This one comes up. I've had many clients like this. Yeah, we broke up. I was going to marry her, but I'm just not ready. Hey, dude, if you're not ready to get married, don't get married. Newsflash. Hey, dude, if you don't want to have kids, don't have kids. Yeah, but she really wanted to have them, but now I look back and I should have got married. Maybe I should have. No, shoulda, coulda, woulda on those things? No bueno. Because those things, those are different things. Those are long-term entanglements in a relationship. You can't just back out of those things. And that's why you didn't want to do them in the first place. But the people come back to that one a lot. She wanted to get married. So then you break up and you're like, you go back, you wait a week, you go, hey, let's get married. She's like, nah, you don't mean it. You just want to get married because we broke up? Now that's the only way I can get you to marry me? Hell no. Now, there are some women or some men out there that go, okay, now you want to get married? Okay, I'll accept it. How many of those are out there? Not many. Now it becomes cheap and petty and just people-pleasing. And I think that's why when you break up and you go, how do I get my ex back? If you're typing that in and you're looking for the answer, those are some of the scenarios. Which one do you like best? Put it in the comments below. Which one of those do you think really, really works? Out of all those, which one do you think really works? Find out what they want and get it to them or get it for them. Make them jealous. Go back in time. Write a letter. Apologize. Maybe apologize 10 times. Tell them all the changes you will make. Do no contact for a day or a week. Put them down on their insecurities. Go to their home and beg. What do you think would be the best one, folks? Anyone on the live stream? And may I ask, we got 10 on deck, 3 likes. I appreciate it. May I ask, is there one I missed? Because this comes up. People put this in the comments sometimes. They go, exes always come back. No, they don't. What, you've had 3 or 4 relationships and the person came back after you didn't talk to them? Women do this a lot, actually. Exes always come back. Well, that might be because you're filtering for needy and weak guys. Because a strong, confident individual, if they're not happy with the relationship, negotiations broke off, they're not just coming back to you. Right? And you got to be really, really, really honest with the idea of, why do I really want them back? That's the elephant in the room. Everyone likes to do like this. Oh, I want them back. I want them back. Why do you really want them back? What's the real reason? Now that's a different question. How do I get my ex back? How do I get my ex back? Like I said, I get text messages on Instagram. Hey, I just want my ex back. Can I ask you a few questions? No. Go to my website and write your story out, and we'll go from there. Hey, man, I just have a quick question. And the question is like, should I block them and then they'll come back? It's extremely shallow and naive and completely and utterly ignorant. Now, ignorant doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you don't know what you don't know. Someone's like, oh, you called me ignorant? You think I'm stupid? No. It just means you lack any kind of intelligence in breakups. It's so much more deep. You're with someone 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you want to solve it in a fucking millisecond with a couple questions. Good luck. I'm not the coach for you then. And by the way, when people come to me and they're just, I just want to know how to get them back. Red flag. How are we going to get you back on deck so you're not full of anxiety and neediness? That's never a good time to make a decision. When do you want to go into making a big decision in your life or trying to get something you want with anxiety and neediness? If you're going to buy a house or buy a car, if you were going to meet a relative you haven't seen in a long time, don't you want to go into it confident, feeling good about yourself, feeling like if this doesn't work out, I'll be just fine? That's where you want to be. The idea like, how do I get them back? I'll do anything. Horrible place to be. If you got that mindset, you might get them back. But I'll tell you what, everything will be on their terms from the get-go from that point on. And I've said this before, needy individuals, they get walked on and they get used. Someone said, what do you mean used? Well, you can get used for a variety of reasons, right? Think about people in the workforce. If you've worked at a company or a job before, and I've worked enough jobs in my life, and you've worked with multiple people, and there's someone that works there, and they're the kindest soul in the building, and they're sweet, and they're accommodating, and they got the job that pays the least. Anyone ever have that? And they got a low job, and they work their ass off, by the way. They show up to work every day, and you're like, wow, Susie could actually move up in this company. She's so kind. She's so nice. Guess what? She's getting used by the company. They're like, oh, she's willing to accept half the pay with a smile and do 50% more of the work. Hey, Susie, no problem. Come on in every day. You're our favorite employee. We're going to make sure we give you a nice Christmas present at the end of the year. And Susie complains when she goes home, like, I don't even get paid that much. Because in her head, she's like, well, this is just what happens. You know, this is just how it works for me. She never takes accountability or responsibility for the fact that actually you're being weak. You're not valuing yourself for how good a employee and a worker you are. And they get taken advantage of. Have you seen it before? Have you worked with people like that where you're like, wow, man, Susie should get paid a lot more? I've seen it before. And they don't speak up for themselves. It's the same thing in a relationship. Get taken advantage of all day, every day, if you want to be weak and needy. But a lot of people do this. They're like, oh, okay, this will be the way I get back. Sure, on their terms. Good luck with that. I just want to get back. I'll do anything. Bad place to be. You know, one of the most interesting things is, marriage. Till death do us part. Unless you do this, right? Like, marriage isn't that simple. It's like, I promise till death do us part to do this, to do that. Unless you do this, then the negotiation's up. Or if I decide that, I'm not attracted to you, or I'm not in love with you anymore, then I can bail. Even though we're going to make this vow on one day of the year and one time in my life, and then I have to be married to that vow for the rest of my life. A lot of people can't do it. A lot of people can't do it. So when I do a live coaching session and you want to unpack your breakup with me on FaceTime or Skype, I send people out some questions before we talk, and most of the people answer the questions first, and they'll be like, wow, those are really good questions. One of them I probably should add would be like, how would you get your ex back? What do you think would work? Without going to YouTube or anything like that. Like, without going to, the spectators and the cheap seats going, you know what, you could do that, you should do this, you should do that. How is someone going to give you advice on how to get your ex back when they don't even know what happened? Think about that for a minute. That's really deep. This person's going to be able to see through there's one size fits all for getting an ex back. It's ridiculous. What you want to get really clear on is this thing fucking fixable? If we did get back together, could we work this out? How would that look? How would that really look? So I'm going to go through these questions really quick, and I'll get to the live stream in a moment. And I'll start answering some questions. So if you guys want to raise some questions or you have some comments, we've got 12 on deck, 4 likes. If you have some questions that you want me to answer, you like the show, you like the channel, I'll get to those in a moment. But getting back to the topic, how do I get my ex back? How do I get my ex back now? Before you get into that, write these questions down. These are the questions I hand out to people. So I'm giving you something that I give to people in live coaching session. Okay? 10 questions to ponder when you break up. Now, these are the directions I give. The directions are important. Get your paper and pen out. You want me to wait a second to get your paper and pen out or take notes on this? This is valuable. I'll give you a moment. Or you could watch this over again and take notes at the 41-minute mark. Directions. Don't overthink or analyze each question. Answer each question with what comes to your mind first. If you find yourself rambling on, stop and think, how can I get to the point? If you found these questions helpful in unlocking some issues, visit rightmac.com to take the next step in telling your story. If you want your ex back, ask yourself these questions first. If you want your ex back, ask yourself these questions first. Yes, I did say it twice. Answer the questions honestly and write them out. I don't know how many fucking times I hear people, and I'm happy when I hear this. They were like 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, 40 minutes into a live coaching session. They go, hey, Mac, can I be honest with you? Yeah, that'd be nice. Can you be honest with yourself? I don't say that, but I think because what they're saying is like, I haven't been being honest about this. I've just been wanting my ex back. I haven't really been honest about it. I didn't want to tell you, yeah, they cheated, but they actually cheated twice. And he's actually got a drug problem too. Oh, really? Why'd you leave that out? You want to talk about that? Well, if we get back to, you know what I mean? Then review them and see what feelings boil up as you read them out loud. So after you do these questions, read them to yourself and see what boils up. If you find yourself fighting to write an answer, it usually means you don't like the answer your mind is giving and you are trying to reshape it. Give the first answer that comes into your head. Keep the answer short and direct. Get to the point. Are you ready for the questions? Let me get one person to say yes on the live stream and I'll begin. Water. Underrated. Are you ready? Number 1. Dun, 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 dun. Why do you want your ex back? Answer that question. Don't think about it too long. Just write what you think in 2 or 3 sentences. Why do you want your ex back? Now, it's very important when you answer this question to not overanalyze it. Your subconscious knows the answer. That's what you're riding on. That's what you need to answer with. That's the first thing that comes to your mind is your subconscious. It's your real answer. Number 2, what's the real reason you broke up? This is your honesty moment. You're telling everyone a story. You're telling everyone they're a narcissist. You're telling everyone they had anxiety. You're telling everyone they had a drug. What's the real reason you broke up? Or 2 reasons? Well, actually, I saw a text message from their coworker and I was done. Okay. Write it down. Number 3, what was your role in the breakup? A lot of people do this. They did this to me. They did that to me. They did this to me. What was your role? Well, I don't really know what I did wrong. Okay. That's a role. Okay. Number 4, Who are you blaming more? Yourself or your ex? Can you forgive yourself or them? Great question. Who are you blaming more, yourself or your ex? Number 5. Are you sure you did something wrong? Why? This is a big one. A lot of people come to me, they're like, and then she told me I did this, and then she told me I did that. She told me I never paid the cable bill, but I paid the cable bill late. So do you feel like you did something wrong if you paid the cable bill late? No, because I was responsible. I said sorry for it already. Okay, so you don't feel like you did something wrong. It's very important to get clear on what you did wrong, but actually what you didn't do wrong. You shouldn't be apologizing for shit you don't believe was wrong. Number 6, are you chasing the relationship you had before the problem started? Be honest. Well, yeah, we were really good together, but like the last 4 months have been really bad. Okay, but are the last 4 months going to tell the next 3 months? Number 7, can you see the problem or reasons for your breakup as something that could be fixed? Can you see the problems or reasons for your breakup as something that can be fixed? How? They're a drug addict. They need to go to rehab. If they come out of rehab after 3 months, I'll consider it. That's very clear. Number 8, what changes in your ex would you like to see if you got back together? This is actually big because if your ex did you wrong, you said at the negotiating table, you're like, look, these are the changes I want. I ask people all the time, hey, in a perfect scenario, what is it that you want? Because you're just stuck on, I just want him back. But is there some changes that you want to see? Yeah, I want her to stop going out with her friends and partying on the weekends, getting drunk and driving home late. She does it all the time. It really upsets me. Okay, stick to that. Number 9, what changes would your ex want to see in you if you got back together? I want to go back to 8. What changes in your ex would you like to see is just as important. A lot of times some people go, I need to do this for them. I need to do that for them. Is there anything about them that you want to see different? Now, are those things fixable? Are those things malleable? Are those things you're willing to work on and they're willing to work on? If not, what are you chasing? Number 10. Who does your ex have to be to make it a great relationship? Who does your ex have to be to make it a great relationship and great again? Now I'm going to ask the live stream. We got 9 on deck, 5 likes. Did any of those questions touch base with you, or was there a question maybe I left out that you gals and guys want me to ask or could add to that? Or one that made you go, ooh, I didn't think of that one before. Put a little music on while I'm waiting for you guys. All right, Mr. Skinner, always a pleasure if you're still on deck. I do appreciate donations to everyone. It is the holiday season. If you don't want to make a donation, that's just fine. I'm still going to ride for you. I'm still going to continue to give you good content and talk about things. Dark Knight, always a pleasure. First on deck. Sundari, thanks, sir. Well, thank you, miss, or Mr. I'm not sure, Sundari. I'm not sure where that name's from. I can't go back to my ex even if her life depended on it. She lied, cheated, and went back to an ex of over 25 years ago that she considers lower value than her. Wow, that's deep. She turned out to be more damaged than I ever thought possible, a complete hypocrite. My issue now is feeling like a moron. I wish I could just take back my stupid mistake. Well, mistakes build character. They give you lessons. It's life experience. And without the sour, you cannot taste the sweet, as they say in the great Vanilla Sky movie. How are you going to know what's good if you don't know what's not good, bud? I mean, everyone wants to go back in time, Dark Knight. Everyone wants to get amnesia some parts of their life. I feel sorry for her daughters. I can already see the relationship path they're likely to follow. Very sad. Well, that's her responsibility, unfortunately, for you. But I would say the one issue that you can work on is feeling like a moron. The biggest issue people have, and this is at the core of what you're going through right now, Dark Knight, is you see the world, you have values, you have morals, you have an identity, and you go, I would never do that to you. And then someone does the same thing to you that you would never do to them, and it really conflicts things because you somehow believe, I thought I knew this human being and I thought they were like me more. And the reality is no one has your life experiences or your values 100%. And values and identity and morals are malleable. So they can change with environments and circumstances. So when someone does something out of character, you're like, wow, where did that come from? It's human. And so the idea that you're a moron is just not true. The idea that you are a human being dealing with what comes your way, doing the best you can. Sometimes you made mistakes. Sometimes maybe you did something in your life to make some other person feel like a moron. And that's not necessarily your intention. And that's how you reframe that. Ralph Lawson, welcome, buddy. My ex just left me after 13 years. She says the reason was because I wasn't treating her right, but she's with a new relationship already. We broke up in January, but still messed around until July. What do you want, Ralph? I would tell you this, 13 years is a damn long time. Did you believe her? Did you believe you didn't treat her right? See, when you make a statement like, oh, I wasn't treated right, that doesn't really say anything. That can mean 10 million things. Was there some specifics there where you were like, yeah, I didn't do that, I didn't do this? Did you agree with that statement, or did you feel like that's bullshit? Less than 10% of exes come back, and those that do, almost 90%, do it for the wrong reasons. I see that 100% with how my ex went back to her loser ex of over 25 years, so there's nothing high value about him. You do get caught up a lot, Dark Knight, and in what this other guy is and what he isn't. At some point, you got to find a way to let go of it because it's not going to serve you. It's really not going to serve you. The idea, though, that I don't know what the percentages are. I think that the percentage of people that stay together when things get tough, when things get rough, when attraction's lost, which it will happen, are people that have more entanglements like kids, a house, when their families are close. That's the reason why people get married, is because they're going to have more things to share than just the bedroom. But she's so damaged than she is. But she's so damaged than she is will to settle with something that she doesn't feel threatened by. She's 48. The older they get, the worse it is. The fear of not being with someone trumps all logic. Yeah, well, I mean, in your 40s, especially females and women, they do have a fear of being alone. That's absolutely true. And that being said, there's reasons for it, especially if they have kids. There's reasons for it. There's understandable reasons for it. That being said, they don't always handle it the right way. But they're definitely, a woman in her 40s is definitely looking out for a serious long-term relationship with someone they can depend on, someone that can offer some security. And I don't just mean financially. Because they're getting to a point where they realize nature-wise that they can't compete with women in their 20s and 30s. And I don't know if that's the case for men. There's a lot of science to that, too. Nick Lundell, killing it, Mac. Right on, bro. Mac in teacher mode. Yeah, I took a little different approach today. I got a little closer to the mic, and we got a little deeper. I wanted to talk about this topic because How do I get my ex back's a big one. Not to be offensive, Dark Knight, but there seems to be a lot of bitterness towards your ex. I think Dark Knight would agree with that. He is bitter. He is bitter. You gotta own that, Dark Knight, because some of these generalizations that you're making, fine. Some of these accusations that you're making about her new boyfriend, fine. At some point, you got to shed that snakeskin, though, and let it be. She's got to go on that path on her own. She's got to figure it out on her own, and distance yourself from that. I think what happened with you, Dark Knight, is that you didn't foresee this coming, and you look at yourself as someone that foresees a lot coming. Not in a psychic way, but in a way that you're a pretty confident, smart guy that sees things coming, and this one hits you out of nowhere. I feel gypped. And that here's the thing. You didn't see it coming, correct? So this is what's really interesting. I talk to people that have been in 20-year marriages or 25-year marriages and 15-year marriages, and they're always very similar in the way they broke up. They're like, yeah, it was a bad marriage. It was this. For 4 years, it was really bad. So when they break up, they're like, I knew it was coming, and it wasn't great that we broke up, but I was okay with it because for 4 years they were both checked out, or 2 years they were both checked out. When someone's in a relationship, everything's going well. Bam! It's like getting T-boned in an intersection, and you're like, where the fuck did that come from? It's shocking. And anything that's shocking and surprising holds more weight on your memory, and it's much more traumatic to you moving forward because you didn't see it coming. You didn't expect it, and you're absolutely shocked. And so when that happens, you're scrambling for reasons to feel better. And in this case for you, Dark Knight, dressing down this guy that she's with and talking about how bad she's going to do, in some ways is your way of coping with it. And I'm okay with it for right now. You just don't want to do this for a year or 2 years or 3 years, because it might just be a stage for you. That's the way you're dealing with it. And someone might go, well, you need to wish them the best and be thankful for that. You're not ready for that right now. But you could make more of an attempt at neutralizing some of this angst and go, I don't even know this guy. I don't want to go there anymore. I'm done. Whatever. She's with someone new, and self-talk yourself. Say, Dark Knight, just deal with it. You know what? This is going to be on her. Yes, it came out of nowhere, and she did that, completely threw me off. That's what makes you upset and bitter, because it questions your own intelligence. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're like, wait a minute. I thought I had this all figured out. The relationship was a fairy tale one as far as I'm concerned, and well, there you go. As far as I'm concerned, for some reason, it wasn't a fairy tale for her in the end. While with me, she acted that way. I'm not a mind reader. No one is. Let yourself off the hook for that. You're allowed to be wrong. You're right, Mac. I am distracting myself with a new woman in my life. It's just once in a while these thoughts hit me and I hate it. And that's why I'm not. It's like brand new Skinner comes on. He's like, not to be offended. Skinner, you're just being honest. It's fine. Dark Knight, we've done a live coaching session before. He knows. He owns it. Right? And I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, man, you can't say that. You got to move on. No, you're not ready for that. But like I said, you're allowed some bitterness. You're allowed some upset days. But at some point, you're going to go, yeah, I'm just completely done. I'm moving forward. We had a fairy tale thing going. I'm thankful for it. I'm meeting new women. I got a new life. I got a lot to be thankful for. This woman doesn't define me, and whatever happens in her future certainly doesn't define me. And my legacy in the book that I'm writing right now about myself and the way I'm headed It's not going to have anything to do with her in the future. So at some point, find a way to let that go. Instead of trying to get your ex back, try and get yourself back. Get back to the person who you were before you met that, who's attracted them to you in the first place. Exactly, Nike One, welcome. Yeah, I would agree with that. And also, to take it a step further, you can, on the opposite end, you can reinvent yourself a bit. Especially if you move to a new environment. When you break up, you're allowed to reinvent yourself. You're like, wait, I've been this person. There was a guy that I knew that was one of my really good friends, like one of my good friends' high school friends. So I was cool with the guy, but he'd come to group events and stuff like that. And he was kind of a quiet guy, but we were cool. He was cool. And he had a high school sweetheart he was with till his like earlier mid-20s, I think. I would say like, and she broke up with him. He was crushed, what have you. He had a pretty good job in the Silicon Valley in the computer industry. And he just changed. I mean, this is what my friend had said. And he ended up with a woman that was very opposite of the girlfriend he had in high school. But, he just changed. And I don't think there's a problem with that. I think that during a breakup, if you're not doing it to, get your ex back necessarily, you're just doing it because, you want to try on, some new things. I don't think you can go 0 to 100. Like you could just, I've talked about this before. You can't go from being a really nice guy, maybe dorky or nerdy. And I say that in a way that some women say, I like nerdy guys. I like dorky guys. I've had clients like that. As long as they own it and they're like, I don't care. I'm a nerd. Whatever. You can't go from being a nerdy, kind guy to a Navy SEAL or a Hell's Angel. This is what happens on the internet now. Like, you got to be more masculine. You're a beta. It's like, there's some guys that aren't going to go 0 to 100 and just become that way. They can make some adjustments and they can own who they are and what they're about. But the idea of like, hey man, you need to do that, overcompensating and becoming someone that you're not comfortable being, or that you really want to aspire to be, don't do it. But can you make some adjustments to have more of a backbone, have some more self-respect and dignity? Yes. I think that some people get caught in the extremes of, I got to be so tough. I got to be this or that. If that's not your arena, that's not your arena. Intelligence is marked by intelligence in a field. Think about that for a minute. When someone says someone's intelligent, are they intelligent about everything? No. Oh, this guy's really smart or she's really smart. What, at learning books at school? I can meet someone that's street smart, that the person that's book smart, they're just environment smart. They're field smart. And so the idea of intelligence is really flawed, because intelligence in a field that's valued, someone go, wow, this person's really intelligent. Actually, they're probably ignorant at a lot of things. And I get a lot of people that are highly successful, they got a lot going for them, and they consider themselves highly intelligent individuals, some of them. They get in a breakup, they are free falling. Whoa, shit, I've never been here before. Like, she did it, he did this, she did that. Yeah, because you've never been there before. It's just ignorance. Ignorance means you don't know what you don't know. That's why you hire me as your coach, or you talk to some therapist. You start reading some books. You start doing some different things, because you're in an arena that you've never been in before. You don't know how to deal with this. Couldn't agree more with you on that, coach. I'm always about reinventing yourself. I've done it my whole life. I love that feeling of people being taken back by the transformations I made to me. That's fuel. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's really an opportunity when you break up, because if you're with someone for a long time, you're playing a role that's comfortable for them and you. Now, you might say, oh, I didn't do anything special for my... There's certain things that you might hold back from doing when you're with a significant other. Now, some people say, no, I was never like that. There might be some things. And then when you break up, the chains are off, my friend. The chains are off. No holds bar. I don't want to get back with an ex, laugh out loud. Once you did me wrong. That's it. Elena P. Is this the woman from Miami? A lot of people moving to Miami right now. It's going to become the new Silicon Valley, I think. Take stock of who you were, who you were. Who you were, but I think who you were in the relationship and what it is you can change and improve on. Sure. Absolutely. Andy, how are you doing? You feeling better? I hope so. That's the good news, Andy. Your relationship, I believe, was 1 year. If you have something to look forward to, if you can stay in no contact, you can move forward, you can get your friends and family support, you can forgive yourself if you're blaming yourself. 1 year you can get over a lot quicker than 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. I'm just telling you right now. It's just how it is. It's math. I get it. Some people, although I have had people that said they've been with someone a year and a half, and if it's a shocking event, it really hurts them, but it still won't last as long. There's something to the years and time you've spent together, layering and layering and layering, that when you break up, it's going to take more time. And I'll just add, like I've said before, if you live together, or if you live together and work together, if you spent a lot of time together, the void just gets bigger and bigger. And that's like, when you think about it, this might sound weird, but dogs, or are they saying snatch? Dags? I got some dags. Why is it when someone has a pet like a dog, and I've had clients, I've had a few clients actually this past year, that they literally got in fights with their exes when their dogs died because they're just so hurt and upset. They're very sensitive. And they're like, man, that's my dog. I've had him for 14 years, 15 years, 13 years. Guess what? They live with that dog. It's like when you live with someone or something for that long. And that's why we're so close to our sisters, brothers, parents. Even when they get older, they turn into derelicts or jerk-offs or bad people. We're still so connected to them because we lived with them. We lived with them for most of our we've been through thick and thin without a choice. Nothing can compare to that. That's why someone loses their dog that's been in their house for 15 years. It's a part of the furniture, man. I mean, I remember having a family dog, like we weren't even that close to the dog because the dog was always outside and stuff. It still hurts. But my point is, when you live together, the more time you spend together, the deeper it gets. If someone's together with someone for a year, it doesn't discount your hurt now. I'm just saying you're more likely to get through it quicker by going into no contact and doing the proper steps and dealing with it, talking to a coach, etc. Okay, and that's the silver lining in that. The other people that 7, 8, 9 years, it doesn't dissipate quick because it's calloused into your mind, as the great Goggins says. Right? It's different. It's just different. Assess the situation, rebuild, then resurface, but rebuild in silence. Interesting. Rebuild in silence. Yeah, I've always valued, I was just talking to someone about that today. I've always valued alone time. I value social interactions. I obviously like doing live streams. I obviously like talking to people where I wouldn't be a coach, interacting. But I value the ability to go out and have breakfast by myself. I value the ability to go on a hike by myself. And there's a lot of people out there, especially now with the social media and everything, that really feel, wow, like you'd go by yourself and do that? I remember, and this is funny because I'm gonna throw one at you, Nike one. PB, a place called, I believe the place was called Rocky's. It's a little burger place. Burger and bar. It's a hole in the wall, but it had like some of the best I'm not a hamburger person either. It's not a big deal to me. I don't really like hamburgers that much, like people love them. I'm more Mexican food. I like tacos. Anyways, I just moved to San Diego. I'd lived in San Diego for like a year, and the Niners were on. And San Diego, first of all, you guys aren't even big football fans. And I remember that the Niners were on, and so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the bar by myself and have a burger and watch the game. And a friend of mine that I worked with was like, so I was like, oh yeah, I went and watched the Niners games. He's like, who'd you go with? I said, I went by. He's like, you went by yourself? Like, you went by yourself? And I was like, yeah, I went by myself. What's the big deal? No one's gonna want to watch the game. It's the Niners. You guys are Chargers fans, which whatever. So I just remember that, and it was such a big deal to my friend. It was like, like, oh my God, you'd go, I didn't even think twice. But now, I do a lot of shit on my own. I eat out a lot on my own. I value it. I like having someone. And the ironic thing is, I'll run into people all the time. They'll be like, "Oh, are you with someone?" Because I know a lot of people here, and I'm like, "No," and I'll have a conversation. Then I'll sit down and I'll eat my food on my own. Rocky's Crown Pub, yeah, Coach. That's good knowledge, right? Is that still there? That was a hole in the wall, man. I don't know if that's considered. No, I was at the Crown Point Apartments, I think, on Ingram. Alone time is key to finding out who you are. You can't hide from yourself, but you sure can get lost of who you are in a crowd of people. Oh, yeah, environments count. Environments count. Someone was just telling me that yesterday in a deep conversation. There was like, this guy was 45. He was telling me, I think he's like, one of the most difficult things is to realize who you are as an individual, who you really are. I mean, it's a kind of a deep thing to talk about or say. And I said, if you're questioning that, like, who am I? Who am I as an individual? The only way you're going to maybe get some of those answers is alone time. How are you going to do it when you're constantly in groups or around people? And that's the danger when you're in a breakup and whatnot, and you're going, well, he said this, she said that, well, my friend said this. You got to, go for a walk, get on your own, and really get into the thought of, like, what do I really want here? What do I really, really want? So the live stream saying that it's a little bit slow right now. Talik Tamut, this coach is the best. Well, Talik, you're the best Talik I know. That's for damn sure. Mr. Tamut, I believe you called in before. How are you doing these days? Is everything okay? I think we did a live one from the live stream. If anyone's wondering why this water looks a little dirty, it's not the glass, it's turmeric powder I put in there. All right, folks, I think the bit rate for some reason slowed down. Sunday ritual for me, Coach. Got to run in or a hike, then breakfast on my own in the company of a good book, and that's it. Good for you, Nike One. It's great to have you back on deck. We got to get you on a live stream one day to talk about things. I'd love to get you on a live stream. Email me at Coach Mac McCarthy. I forgot your email. The streaming got messed up here. It's saying an error. I don't even know what this stuff means sometimes. Slow motion here. Yep, I'm not sure what happened. But this is what happens when you go live. Circumstances are, at any given moment, this can happen. Hear the chickens? get you ID and joy for that for sure, coach. Yeah, we got. That's what I want to do. I want to get. I was just talking to a really interesting client today. I'm going to do some interviews that are a little deeper than just breakups, about people that just got some interesting stories to tell. And I think you do, Nike One. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. Is everyone still on the live stream able to hear me? Because it's saying that the stream's current bit rate is lower than recommended. So I think that the video might be slow, but can you hear me okay? Maybe not. Maybe not. This was a good live stream today so far, though. All right, folks, I'm going to call it, since we have an hour and 15 minutes, which is pretty good. I'll be back on deck tomorrow. I appreciate everyone. Thank you for hanging in there. How do I get my ex back? How do I get my ex back now? I went through it from the top. I would add this. I would add this to close it. Always in a breakup, get yourself back on deck. If you got anxiety, if you got worries, if you're hoping and wishing, if you're like, oh my God, if I just get them back, that's not the place you want to be. You want to be at a place where you're not going overcompensation, but you're at a point where you go, I'm okay. If they hit me up out of the blue, if they call me, if they text me, if they email me, I'm not too excited about it. I'm okay. And I've talked about this before. I had one situation where an ex hit me up out of nowhere. It wasn't even a real ex. It wasn't even in the extreme of a lot of people call me up. It's not the level of where you're like hurting so bad that you miss them. It was someone that would have been my girlfriend that I was seeing for, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, pretty serious, and I'd moved away. We had broke up over the distance. Nothing too scary, nothing too sad. I didn't chase. I didn't continue to call. She just said it wasn't good for her and that she no longer wanted to talk to me because it was hard on her. No problem. No tears shed. All good. About a year and a half later, out of the blue, hit me up. We ended up getting into a conversation for an hour. Said she saw someone that reminded me of her. Years later, and then after that, we became boyfriend and girlfriend for years later. My point is, when that call or that individual reaches out to you, you want to be in a position where you're mellow yellow. You're okay. You're not excited. You're not worried. You're not being someone you're not. You're like, oh, hey, what's up? It's good to hear from you, hon. How you been? You don't want to feel like you're walking on eggshells or you're trying to get them back. I just had a client earlier today. He just got back with his ex, but then they broke up pretty soon after. But he was describing the text conversation that they had that led up to them getting back together, and he was just being himself. He was making a few jokes. He was not asking to get back together or see each other. That's where you want to be. But if you are in this mode where you're like, how do I get him back? How do I get him back? Should I block him? Should I do this? That's frantic. It actually scares people to be around people that are frantic. And people sense it. Just like when you have a cat walk up to you or you got a dog walk up. If you ever had a dog walk up to you and the dog's like, that's a bad growl. With the teeth out like that. And you just have the hair stand up on your arms, if you have hair on your arms like me, or you have they have energy go down your back. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you go, ooh. Like there's a little sense of fear and worry. You're sensing energy, right? So when you meet your ex or you're back in contact with them, that's what happens. And so when they meet up with you and they it's subconscious, it's not expert based. They are actually reading your body language, and they're like, this guy looks really insecure and uncomfortable right now. That's not attractive. That's not going to win them over. They might go, oh, how have you been, or whatever. They might feel sorry for you. They might want to talk to you, but and you feel it too. You feel, and that feeling is a feeling of inferiority. It's a feeling of being less than them. And that even if you do get back with them, that would just be a power struggle because they would know they have the upper hand. And the ideal place to be is neutral. Or, as Mr. Nike one just said, indifference, which I would equate to neutral. And indifference, it has to be genuine indifference. It can't be tried. And that's the kind of thing you have when you meet someone. A lot of times, if you look back when you met your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever you want to call them, you, especially as a guy, you had indifference. You could have been excited because you were attracted to them. You could have been maybe butterflies or a good mood, but you definitely didn't have anxiety. Because if that was the case, it usually doesn't equate to getting together, right? Like I said, if someone does that, they have identified you as a wounded on the savannah, as a weak person. They're just going to look to take advantage of you. But when you're hitting me up, or you're hitting another coach up, or you're in the comments, you're like, how do I get my ex back? How do I get him back now? Those things I went over, a lot of them are desperate moves. And they're going to be received as desperate moves. And so you got to ask yourself, I know when I was in the worst breakup I was in, which I'm completely and utterly over now for years, but I reference it because of what you guys are going out there right now. When you're feeling that anxiety and worry, you really got to go, I got to heal up here. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm talking to this individual right now the way I feel, because I got to level up. That whole thanks but no thanks mentality, when that's genuine and not fake, damn, that is a place of power. It is. It is. Take it or leave it. Yeah. It's the same thing when you negotiate buying something, right? You walk away and you go, now it's saying that the stream's in excellent condition. Who knows what happened? It's the same greatness of, you're negotiating with someone, you go, all right, you know what? Yeah, that price isn't going to work. And you walk away and you go, I don't want to pay that much, and you don't want to come down, so let's just agree to disagree. It's all good. It's fine. Great position to be in. And if you're going to revisit things and you had some time away, then you got to start over again anyways. So nobody wants someone long-term that comes to them just desperate. Well, there's some people that might like that. They might have some vindication, some validation of feeling like, yeah, I knew you'd come back. Some people talk like that. All right, we finally got an excellent connection here, it says. 6 concurrent viewers. This is kind of a late night time for a lot of people in the States, but hopefully it's a good time for some other people out there. Anyone, we got 5 on deck. If you got a specific question about your breakup or something you want to ask, I'll take some closing questions here, coming up on an hour and a half. Put on the music a little bit just to get the silence out of there. This mixer's kind of... Crickets. Corey Wayne, the best negotiating tool is to walk away and to mean it. I agree. The great Corey Wayne, Mr. Wayne. Yeah, man. I got to interview him sometimes on this show. That'd be fun. Negotiating tools to walk away. Is there one better? It's to know what the other person wants also, right? It's to provide value for value. So if you're negotiating a trade, then it's to know value also. But yeah, to walk away and mean it. That's absolutely true. That's the simplest way. And to say that you don't, in order for you to walk away and mean it as a negotiating tool, you need to know that you don't need the item that you want. You can't be emotionally attached, and you have to have it set in your head of what's fair to you and stick to it. That's the key thing. And that definitely can be done. That definitely can be done in a relationship. You like that, Skinner? Yeah, those are the little sound bases. I don't know where my my usual intro's at. Azam, Ola's Cantina. What are some of your personal deal breakers, Mac, for relationships? I'm talking about it's funny. Me and this guy I was just talking to today on a live coaching call. We were talking about that today. When you know your value, you can walk away and mean it. I'm assuming you're saying about dating or meeting someone that's a potential girlfriend or wife. I would say that treating, for me, is that what you're asking, Skinner? Just confirm that before I go into it. I'll just give you that. What's funny is you changed your picture, so it looks like it's someone different. Even though the picture is microscopic, right, when it shows me on the side here. So I'm going to assume personal deal breakers. I'm going to assume that, well, I would say it's the same for colleagues, but if I'm dating a woman, and I guess deal breakers would be someone going back on their, if you're dealing in a negotiating a business, someone that goes back on their word when they already said what they were gonna. I just had this recently. Someone was like, I'm paying a certain amount of money for a gym membership service. So I'm doing personal training right now. I got a personal trainer for the first time, 2 days a week. It's not, for me, it's not cheap. And they were like, oh, well, let's do 3 days a week. And I was like, yeah, let's definitely do 3. Well, it's going to be the same price. I'm like, actually, I don't think it'll be the same price because it's going to be 2 extra sessions. They're like, oh yeah, well then pay an extra such and such. And I'm like, no, I don't want to pay an extra such and such. You know what I mean? I was like, you're going back on, it's already expensive. I'll do the extra. So it was like going back on your word that you just offered something, but then you realize that you don't want to offer that anymore. But going into deal breakers as far as, let's just say that you're dating someone new, first couple dates where you're like, I don't think I'm going to go out with them again. It's funny you asked this, Skinner, because this just came up in the live coaching today, and I just came up 2 days ago. If you listen to, you guys got to go back, and I'm going to, Aleph already cut it, so you can just watch the live stream where this guy Dave came on. Great, very entertaining live coaching session with myself. He did a lot of the talking, so it wasn't the same as when we do a coaching session on FaceTime or Skype. It wasn't as good for him as an individual, but we're going to talk again. But he came on, was very vulnerable and candid about his current situation. It's probably one of the better live streams. But he was saying, as the great Corey Wayne says, he's like, don't listen to what they say, look at their actions. And I would say definitely look at someone's actions, but absolutely listen to what someone says about themselves and about other people. How do they talk about their friends, family, and colleagues? So if they are bashing colleagues, if they are bashing past exes, if they are, and if they have a lot of issues with their parents, look out. You're next. So that would be a big one. That's something in my 20s, it would just be attraction and then just deal with everything else afterwards, right? People that are rude to staff really pisses me off. So if you go out to dinner and someone's rude to a waiter or a waitress, huge red flag for me, because I was never a waiter or waitress, but I had retail jobs when I was young. And so when people are rude to people like that, you're done. When women are stuck up, and it's ironic, girlfriends or whatnot, and they're stuck up and they're just like, yeah, whatever, that's just how it is. Women are like that. And I'm like, no. So I would say being stuck up. I would say the other thing is, just for me, being obsessed with taking pictures. This is a big one now, where you got to take pictures every 2 or 3 minutes. The special apps to make your pictures look better, and also having a very I don't mind if you like expensive stuff, but if it's something that you value too much, like something that's an expensive bag or expensive stuff that are to me items that aren't very important, that to me is kind of a deal breaker, where it's just exotically expensive. Someone recently told me that she was telling me, and she's a good-looking woman, she's like, oh, I want to make more money so I can buy more designer bags. I was like, really? That's your purpose on making more money? I just thought, wow, that's just sad. Luna Martinez, how are you doing? I'm well. Happy holidays to you. Feliz Navidad. Same face, I promise. Thanks for the question, Skinner. You're always there for one question at the end. Calling it in for the night, Coach. It's always a pleasure. I'll drop you an email. As you put it, that's curtains. Well, folks, like I said, it's a different time right now. It's 3 p.m. for me, which means for some of you it might be 3 a.m. or later or earlier in the morning. It's been good. Skinner's been riding since the beginning. Listen to my lecture on how do I get my ex back. Hopefully it helps some people out there get a different perspective than actually just following something. Think about the things that I mentioned as something you want to do, or are you just desperate? There's a difference. Do you feel like, yeah, this is something I'd really like to do? So I hope that helps you. Happy holidays to all. I'll be on deck most of this week. And